Welcome back to the 11th episode of the Head versus Heart podcast. I'm the head because I look at Supercoach and NRL betting from an analytical perspective, and he's the heart because he looks at both of those from an emotional perspective. First things first, let's jump into our accountability from last round. How did you go last round?
Yeah, so I had a week to forget. If I wasn't somewhat funny, I wouldn't be here. I had 0 from 7. One of my bets was Boyd. How about yourself?
Yeah, I went 3 from 5 in the end on the bets posted on the pod with a total profit of $176.90. Did have a big weekend though, so missed betting on some of those myself. But I did bet on some other try scorers, so I ended up $156.40 up for the weekend. But yeah, so not a bad week for myself. Let's quickly jump into each game from last round.
Yep, so first game of the round was the Bulldogs taking on the Dragons. So it was, I believe, 6-12 at halftime. This game ended 44-12, Bulldogs win. That was possibly one of the strangest games I've ever seen. Like, it seemed like my boy Tommy Eisenhuth got absolutely destroyed. No clue what happened there, to be honest.
Yeah, Bulldogs just ran away with it.
Yeah.
In terms of betting, what did you have in this game?
I trusted my two ringers, Lomax and Burton, to score. Matty Burton scored a double, and Zach Lomax got sin bin. So, and he's still been picked for Origin, which is really annoying. But you take the good with the bad. But that was the bad with the bad.
Yeah, a bit of a mixed output from those two. For myself, didn't have a bet in this game. Uh, yeah, definitely could have seen the game going in a similar way, not exactly as big of a scoreline, but yeah, Bulldogs looked really good in this one. Um,
Yeah.
the next game of the round was the Cowboys Tigers, a bit of an ebb and flowing game. This one, what did you have in this game?
Yeah, so I had the Tigers head to head, which, to be honest, it did not look good. Then it looked good. Then it looked awful again as the Cowboys came back. I had that and Staines anytime. Charlie Staines seemed to be allergic to the ball. No one wanted to give it to him. I think he might have some sort of rabies, to be honest. But yeah, that just it didn't come about. Unfortunately, that's another loss. How about yourself?
Yeah, frustrating one for myself in this one. Took the Tigers plus 12 and a half. The line before the game pushed out to 14 and a half, and the score line ended 42-28. So the Cowboys winning by 14 in the end. So just missed that one. And maybe if I waited a little bit longer, would have won. So pretty frustrating. But you'll get those tough losses sometimes, and not much you can do.
Yeah, definitely, indeed. Unfortunately, what can you do? On to the next game now. It was Seagulls 26, Storm 20. Did you have any bet on this one?
In this game, nothing for myself.
Yep.
I don't
So
know that Ennis necessarily saw the Seagulls getting up in this one, but good performance for them to get up.
yeah, definitely. I saw them getting up. I had them to be leading in the first 20 minutes, which they did. But I also had Storm head to head, to finalize it, to finish it off. That didn't happen, and neither Coates nor Saab went over as well. So my bet was dead. I do feel a bit of a visionary to say that the Manly would start early, but no, I didn't expect them to finish at all. So rather disappointing on that front.
Yeah. The next game of the round, the Roosters Raiders in Canberra. The Roosters bounced back in a big way, won 44-16 for myself. In this one, I had the Roosters line, which was a minus 10, minus 11 and a half. And that got up pretty comfortably, so pretty stoked with that one. That was my leg of the head and heart side bet. So my leg won. We can talk in the next game about your leg of the bet. But how'd you go in this game, firstly?
So did you watch this game at all? Because I had Bruce's 13 plus and then Young and Crichton to combine for 3 tries. Did you see Manu's tries? Any other center would have passed them to Dom Young, and I feel genuinely cheated by that man. All he has to do is pass the ball out to hold the ball, hold the winger, and then pass it back out to Dom Young to score. But no, he thought he's a big boy and could score himself every time, and I'm genuinely mad. That man owes me 230 bucks.
Would you say that maybe it's a
It's not a moral victory. It is a defeat. It is Joey Manu looking me in the face and spitting at me. Actually, I don't please take that personally, Joey. I'm not that mad about it.
uh,
I'll give
but
him one of these if I see him.
the next game of the round, the Sharks versus the Panthers. Yeah, obviously not how I saw this game going.
Yeah, not at all.
The Panthers won by 42 points in the end. Um, yeah, I did try to give some credit to the Panthers in saying that I didn't think I was willing to take the Sharks line. I much preferred taking the Sharks 1-12. Nico Hines goes down in the game, so it's hard to know what the final scoreline would have been. I think like a Panthers 1-12 might not have been that bad of a bet, like if it played out like a lot of the time. But yeah, no, I think Panthers still win that game if Nico stays fit for that whole game. So I had a loss in this one. What about
Most
yourself?
definitely. Yeah, I had the Sharks head to head with Mulatalo, sorry, and Haslam to score. They didn't score a single point. Let's move on.
And yeah, that was the other leg of the head and heart side betters head and
Yeah,
heart best bet. Sorry, was Hazleton, and that didn't get up unfortunately. So
unfortunately.
another week, another miss on that one. The next game of the round was the Rabbitohs versus the Eels. The Rabbitohs put on some points for the first time in a little while and got a win in this one. Had the Rabbitohs head to head as my bet. So that one got up, so pretty happy with that, even though Cody Walker was ruled out late. What about yourself?
Yeah, so I didn't know how this game was going. I knew there was a lot of points in it. So I went Sebo, Johnston, and Mitchell. So Latrell actually played a good game for once, and he didn't score, which is really surprising. It seems like he can only score in games where he's effectively a dud. So I'm just really confused how he didn't score in this one.
Yeah, yeah, no, so he was the only one that you missed out on that one, so it's a
Yeah, exactly.
bit of
What
a
can you
tough
do?
loss in that one.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah. The next game of the round was the Broncos versus the Titans. Very entertaining game, this one. Uh, it's it's a weird one because we sort of bet on different sides and both parts of both our bets won. So for myself, I had the Broncos over 29.5 points, which they lost the game and that's bet still won. So shows you that that was a good bet in this one. Um, but what about yourself?
Yeah, well, I said in the last podcast I thought there was an upset coming, and lo and behold, there actually was. And I genuinely regret not getting on the straight line there. But yeah, so I had Titans 13.5, AKP and D Fafita to score. I got greedy. AKP scored. The Titans won in probably one of their best wins in years. But no, unfortunately, David Fafita just did not look like scoring.
Yeah,
But what
yeah,
can you do? What can you do?
really good game. That there was a side bet on that one as well. So
Yeah, so
I
I believe it's
won
the
side
line
bet.
of Broncos points at 29.5.
Yeah, yeah.
Bloody ridiculous.
I got up on the side bet on that one. The other side bet was obviously Cooler versus Saab, and Cooler didn't play, so that one's just voided.
Unfortunately, so
Um, the last game of the round is the Warriors versus the Dolphins. The Warriors got up in a really tight one with a very depleted squad. It ended up being. Is this sort of how you saw the game going after the squad? After the squad they had on game day?
to be fair, after Adam Fanua Blake was dropped, I assumed they just had no one to really put any effort in. I thought the Dolphins were going to win, and lo and
Yeah,
behold, the I believe 9 out of their starting 17 players were injured, but somehow they still won anyway. Like, how do the Warriors go about winning here?
yeah. You could almost claim a victory on this one, but like because you did have Warriors Day, was at an AFB office, he didn't play, so
Yeah,
two
no,
guys
unfortunately,
played.
it's been voided, but I
Yeah,
mean, you win some, you lose some.
yeah. But yeah, I definitely didn't necessarily see the Warriors coming out and winning this one after the injuries they had. Dito Zeb was at fullback. Yeah, like missing plenty of players, SJ, RTS, CNK, so and then obviously AFB as well. So
Yeah,
thought it would be tough for them to get home, but they did. I did expect them to sort of show up in this game. That's why I didn't bet on either team. But yeah, a very big victory from them in this one. Um, just moving on from the games now, I'll just quickly touch on the side bet record. So I went 1-0 in side bets for this week, so it's now 3-0. I'll just add a clip from the weekend where I actually did my punishment for the side bet, so I'm just going to add it in right here.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
would you buy another one?
Probably not going to buy another one. Bit rogue to mix with the beers, but yeah, no, it was okay actually. Yeah,
So I'm hearing you'd start with another one.
I don't know because it's still in your stomach afterwards.
Ooh.
Um, but yeah, so the clip will already be there, or I'll add it now. But yeah, we'll move on to Supercoach ranks. For myself, I'm up into the top 20K again. Moved to 18,930, up 5,000 with a total score of 1,291. Luckily, didn't have Nico Hines and had some all right scores across my team. Continue to miss out on picking good captains. Picked Dylan Brown, but it's definitely not not as bad as most other Bills weeks in that they had Hines, so can't complain. What about yourself?
Look, I don't really want to talk about it, to be honest. I had a week where I'm generally considering quitting Supercoach. Like I did that badly. I am now 48,000. Fuck. I am now 48,383, down 15,000 points because I scored 869. So for context, that is because all my Sharks players did absolutely garbage. Nico Hines scored 3. I captained Dom Young, and he should have been passed the ball twice. I assumed he'd score a hattie on the weekend. Somehow, the Roosters score 46 points, and their best winger doesn't score. Explain that to me. Explain that to me. Like I'm
Joke,
dead set willing to throw my laptop out of the window after that one.
joke.
It's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's serious. I'm very mad about this.
No, but this is where the greats are made, mate. The comebacks on from here.
No, I feel like I've lost my virginity again. Sorry, I feel like I've regained my virginity after that. I've been fucked so hard that I've somehow managed to regain my virginity.
Nice. Yeah. Let's move swiftly on from that.
Before I re-lose it again. We'll speak of that later.
Let's talk best bets for the week. Firstly, of course, we've got to start with the head and heart bet of the week. Which for this week would you like to take it away with what that is?
Look, so we've got Ronaldo Mulatalo, anytime try scorer, and Dolphins at a line of negative 3.5. For me, the head. I am the head after all. I mean, the heart, I've got Mulatalo, anytime try scorer. I think he's due. He hasn't scored in the past couple of games. He's just unbelievably due. And so, what's your reasoning behind the Dolphins at negative 3.5?
Yeah, so the Dolphins back home off a loss. I think they're a decent team, and I think the outs that they have in someone like a Hammer are pretty well replaced in Trey Fuller there. And yeah, I still don't have much confidence in this Raiders team generally. So pretty happy to take the Dolphins at a -3.5, which you can get on Sportsbet there, and that will be one of my bets in a later game. So yeah, pretty happy with that one there. In terms of my personal best bet for the round, I've got the Panthers head to head and the Dragons +24.5. So that's just the Panthers 1-24 realistically. That's $1.86 on points bet with a boost. I like the Panthers regardless of all the outs they have. I'll talk to the outs more when we get to that game, but yeah, still like the Panthers. I think the Dragons half-back downgrade from Ben Hunt to that is it Marshke?
I think it's Jesse Marshke. Marshke, is
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Is probably one of the biggest halfback downgrades. So I think I'll struggle. I took the +24.5 though, because I think the Panthers will struggle to create as well. So I think it'll be a lower scoring game, and but I still think the Panthers get over the line in this one. What about yourself?
Yeah, fair enough. I agree with you. The Panthers, I don't think they'll struggle. I don't think they'll struggle, to be honest. I think they've proven last week they can go hard without their big names. I think that Dragons line's probably a lot, and I don't know if it'll make it or not. But for my own bet, I've got the Knights, Armstrong, and Mapalangi anytime try scorer. So the way I see it, the Knights want revenge. They've got a weakened Bulldogs team. I think we can steamroll them in that regards. Armstrong looks incredibly due. I think he's only not scored in one game. And I had this theory, right? So on debut wingers, well, not necessarily on debut, but replacement wingers, like in Mapalangi's case, how often do they not pass the ball? Like you think about it, right? They are so scared of screwing up for an intercept pass, they'll just run the ball themselves and refuse to pass it back out. I've seen it time and time again. Like if there's going to be a try on that wing, it will be Mapalangi. Like it won't be Greg Margie, it will be Christian.
Just a few things there. You just said David Armstrong's incredibly due, and he's scoring fucking hat tricks for fun. So I think he's maybe not in good form. I don't know if he's due, but
well, think about it. He's played one game where he hasn't scored. He's scored more tries than games at this point.
But I think that would be the opposite of being due. Like if he hadn't scored, then he would be due.
He is incredibly due.
Okay, great shout. He's incredibly due. Mapalangi is playing center as well. So
I said he's playing center. I said the ball.
you said he's a wing. You said wing.
No, I swear I said he's a center.
Should I just replay the clip of you saying he's a
yeah,
wing?
replay it then. Prove me wrong. But what I mean to say is, if there's going to be a try on that wing, it'll be him, given he's playing center and he's a debutant wing. That's debutant center.
Debutant center, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm saying he won't pass the ball. He'll run it himself and score.
Yeah. Fair enough. Let's just quickly, before we jump into our trades for the round, I just want to talk about a little bit about how Supercoach round 13 works. So Supercoach round 13 obviously is the large buy round. Half the teams are missing during this buy round, and then you've also got all the Origin players out as well. So you have to plan for this round, but you only have to play 13 players this round. What that actually means is you name 17 players. So name all of your possible active players, and then just the best combination of 13 players out of those 17 go towards your point score. So if you have like a Pharmacilli like I have, he might score a 20. If someone gets injured and they score a 2, then Pharmacilli's score will count over that 2. So you don't have to worry to make sure all your playing players are named. But if you only have if you have 14, 15 players, that's not the worst thing. But yeah, in terms of vice captain and captain as well, you basically get a free loop this round. So whereas in other weeks, if you wanted to loop in the vice captain, i.e. have the vice captain be your captain, you would have to put the captain on someone playing a bye, and then you get an AE instead of the score of the person you take the reserve off. This round you won't get that AE. You can just put the captain on someone that isn't playing, and then you'll still get the best 13 scores, and yeah, basically you get the vice captains as a captain. So think carefully about who you want your vice captain and your captain to be, because you get a free vice captain. So make sure you make use of that. Basically, you're taking a vice captain in one of the earlier games. That should all make sense. If it doesn't, leave a comment and one of us will reply to the comment. But I'll just quickly jump into trades for the round. So for myself, just going Joe Chan to DeBellin, just to get my numbers up for this round. DeBellin's been solid. He had a 66 in base power last week. So yeah, like him as an option, especially they're a little bit shorter in the forwards now, the Dragons, with Sewer out. So hopefully that, not necessarily, but hopefully that has a positive effect on his minutes. And yeah, I'm struggling for other options with some of the ins in Origin. Someone like a Matty Burton, if he ended up being 19th or 20th man, sometimes they let them out of the squad to play. So
he
someone
wasn't
like Matty Burton could be a trade.
Just so you know.
Sorry?
He wasn't named this week, so he's not going to play.
He wasn't named even in the extended?
Yeah, no, he was not named in the extended squad.
Yeah, okay. Okay, but regardless, you can look at someone that's named in the 19 or 20, and they might be an option. I haven't really looked into it, so I'd have to look into some of those players, but they could be an option later on. And so definitely my trades could change, but yeah, that's what I've got at the moment. What about yourself?
Yeah, look, I'm kind of annoyed I told you about this Jack DeBellin trade that I was doing and that you'd let me go second in this part. So now it looks like I'm copying you. But yeah, so I'm kind of tired about Flegler. He's been in my team for a while. I keep on hearing he's back this week. He's back next week. That's just being pushed back and back, further and further back. So I'm like thinking it's probably time to get rid of him. He might not even play this season at this rate. So I'm going from Tommy Flegler to Jack DeBellin.
Yeah, nice.
Same exact same reasons you said. There's like no one else there, but I need more stocks for this round. And he's an absolute workhorse, so I can't complain.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, we can talk to best trades generally. Obviously, the highest traded player in this week is Tedesco after not being picked in Origin. I think he's a great trade in. The issue is with my team and with probably many other people's teams is the amount of Roosters players we already have. Most people I have currently Terrell May, Gus Crichton, Dom Young, Sam Walker, and they'll all miss next week. So you have to factor that in. I was even looking like at someone like a Jermaine Asako as well, but he'll miss next week as well. So I'll be struggling to get a half decent team together next week if I trade in someone like a Tedesco. So I've opted not to go for Tedesco. But if you are shorter on numbers, Roosters numbers, I definitely love Tedesco as a trade in. What about yourself?
Yeah, look, I agree with you as well. I found it the hard way. I was worried about this with my Raiders players, only to find out the exact same thing happened with my Sharks. The problem is if the Roosters have a bad game, you're totally screwed. Like if you have that many players in one team and they end up going scoreless, then you're just going to score terribly for the round. Like your team needs to be diverse and distinct for a reason. Like
Yeah,
again, outside of that though, I agree Teddy is probably the number one trade in, but I don't know who else to pick at this point. I am totally lost.
yeah. I mean, there's plenty of other players you can look towards. Obviously, a lot of people are targeting Sam Walker with Nico Hines being named in the Origin team, and if he's not named, it's probably because he's injured. So Sam Walker's a highly targeted player. I already own Sam Walker, but I don't hate it as a trade in. I don't honestly mind holding Nico through this period as well. So there's definitely options with Nico. We'll talk later more about Origin and players who are trading out and stuff like that. But we'll speak more just to trade in. Someone like a Dylan Brown, I think, is still a good trade in. He'll go back to 6 this week, but like I think he'll have more freedom to run with Moses back there. So I still like Dylan Brown this week. I mean, if you don't already have Armstrong, like pretty
Yeah,
easy trade in.
get on the strong arm train. Bit
Yeah, yeah. Aside from that, like I'm looking down the list of these trade-ins. There's no one else that really excites me. Jack Cole, is he someone that you would look at?
Well, how long is he going to be in the team for? Is Cleary out longer term now?
Well, I think Schneider was named this week, correct?
Yeah, so it's Schneider and
So it'll be Schneider and Lua
Schneider
next
and
week.
Cole
So
both named.
um
Yeah, so
yeah,
what's wrong with Luai? Was he named the
playing
extended
Origin.
spot? Oh, true, yeah. I honestly think this could be a bit of a shootout to determine who gets the spot next week. So I would not pick either Schneider or Cole. Like I think the better player ends up playing with Luai next week.
My opinion is that Schneider just gets the spot. Like
I know
he's looked decent when he's been there, and he's more of a seven than what I've seen of Cole. So
Yeah, look, all I'm saying is just I'm looking at their profile pictures on the NRL.com website, and I think that I'm backing Cole just based on the fact he looks far more assertive in his photo than Schneider. Like seriously, put up the photo here, and you'll see what I mean. Like I want Cole on my team, not Schneider.
just on like what facial structure.
Yeah, no, he's got like a bit of a quivering lip. Looks like he'd be scared in the line. You know what I mean? I'd rather Schneider. Sorry, I'd rather
Rather
Cole.
Cole.
Cole looks like no nonsense. He'd get it done, and he's going to kill it on the field. Just you watch.
Yeah, for mine, if I had to choose one of them, I'm definitely trading in Schneider over Cole.
Okay, hear me out. Side bet this week. Most points between Cole and Schneider. You in?
Actually, rate that. Yeah, yeah. I'll get around that.
I am going Jack Cole solely because I believe he'll score more points because he looks more assertive on the field.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely taking Schneider in that one. So that's the first side bet of the round. Haven't even got into the games yet, but I'll write that down. Is there anyone else at all that interests you?
To be honest, I've spent very little time on Supercoach this week. I did so badly, I am genuinely considering quitting.
this is the week we turn it around. These are the type of weeks where the good Supercoach players come out and start pumping up the ranks because yeah, like a lot of people wouldn't have buy planned very well. So good part of the year to start making up ranks.
Indeed.
But yeah, that's like you said. There's not too much else that I love as a trade in. So let's jump into the first game of the round, which is the Eels versus the Sharks. Some pretty relevant Supercoach points in this one. A lot of ins in that Eels team, a lot of big ins. Your Gutherson and your Moses obviously being the most notable. Probably the player that has the most impact on is Blaze Talangi.
Blaze Talangi's playing 14. That's insane.
He's playing 14, yeah. So
also, Brendan Hands has been named at 9 as well.
Yeah. What's your sort of take on the Talangi situation? What would you be doing with him if you owned him right now?
I'd be selling him, to be honest, but I don't know if there's anyone to sell him to at this stage. I think maybe just cop the a bit of an L this week and wait till next week when players are back.
Yeah, no. So for mine, Talangi this week is a hold. He's got a negative 25 break even, and he's playing. So he's going to be a score. He might be the player that drops out first, but he's going to be a score this week. It could be, so if you've got like 14, if I had Talangi, I definitely want to be having like 14, 15 players, just because, yeah, like his score is not going to be massive. Probably the one that drops out. It's really annoying as an owner, but you're definitely not selling. He could, like Gutherson still could be a laid out and Talangi could still get that fullback spot. So you're definitely not selling. You're definitely playing for this week, and then it's a reassess for next week. It's just annoying as an owner.
Yeah, definitely. It's frustrating as hell.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the rest of the team, would someone like a Mitch Moses be someone you look at even this week in the halfback position?
Look, I really don't like picking players like the moment they come back from injury. I just don't think it's a good idea. What's his break even as well? Is it? I assume it'd be pretty low given I think he went off relatively early in the game he got injured.
As like you mean, you assume it'd be pretty high, right?
Yeah.
It's 61. No, it's 38.
38. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, no, it's 38. So he's got a low break even. Last game he played in round 13, he got a 116. So yeah, he's got a low break even. Like, yeah, obviously he is coming back from injury, so I don't think you can trade him in for this week, but he's a keen watch through this origin period.
Yeah, look, I looked at the Eel schedule, and the one thing that really annoys me about getting into Moses is that the Eels have the bye rounds in 16 and 20, which is probably the worst time to bring in a player who you know is not going to play Origin.
Yeah.
Like it kind of puts me off him. But again, if he plays well outside that period, I consider it. But
yeah,
at this time, I'm kind of worried he's just off an injury. Who knows? It could happen again at this point.
Yeah, no, I'm not really interested in trading halfbacks. And yeah, I don't know. He could be a good pod though. Like if you want to take a risk.
Yeah, definitely.
If you want to take a risk, you don't have Dylan Brown. You need a halfback. I kind of like it. Like a lot of people have Sam Walker. Sam Walker's very hot and cold. They're good. The Eels are a good team when everyone's fit and firing, I reckon. So I kind of like Moses as a sort of extra option. Obviously, it's depending on your team and stuff, but like I'm not going in, but I don't mind him as an option.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree with that.
Anyone else in this, like in the Eels team that sort of interests you at all for Supercoach?
Brendan Hands, it depends if he gets that spot full time. So I'd be waiting until next week. But if he's got that spot now, I'm going to trade him out immediately for Freddie Lussick. Which Lussick? Joey Lussick. There we go.
The only thing is if you're trading him out, he's playing this week. So I think if you want to trade to him, I would be trading to him like now.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I don't know if I love him as a trade, but if you're like, I mean, there's worse trades definitely because he's 200K. So if you wanted to clear up space in your hooker, there's definitely worse trades to make. yeah, like playable number. So definitely not the worst option. But I'm just for mine, I'm setting and forgetting my hooker for the rest of the season. Got
Yeah, fair
Appy
enough.
and Harry Grant there, so not looking to make any moves in the hooker position. But if you were, I don't mind it. Brendan Hands. Um, so we'll move on to this Sharks team then. Like we've sort of spoken to few players. Trindle back in the team. Um, how do you think some of the scoring output of some of these Sharks players goes this week?
I hope it's better than last week. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll do better. They're playing against a team that's not doing well, but they have Moses back. Like, surely, I know that they're missing Nico, but they've got an actual halfback now, who will also play for the rest of the game, you assume, hopefully. I think Atkinson and Trindle will be able to steer this team a lot better than what happened last week. Um, Other than that, I just hope the Sharks get some points on the board, just for my team's sake.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like for mine, I'm not looking at like any of these Sharks assets that you'd be hold. I'm not really looking at trading out like your Kale, your Ronaldo at a 568. I'm still holding and playing for this week. So I don't love many of them as trading, but I'm not super keen on many of them. Many of them as a trade out. We can quickly touch on Nico Hines. What would you be doing with it? You have him, right? So
Yeah, I've got him. But we don't really know the severity of his injury, right? So I don't know why he was picked for Origin, given that he went off the field pretty quickly last week.
yeah,
Look, it really depends if he plays Origin or not. If he plays 80 minutes, I'd say keep him because he will probably end up playing at least 30, and he's got. I actually don't know, to be honest. Do you sell him because of how high his break even is? I don't know, but like they say, you keep guns. I think it's okay to hold him or sell him at this point. I don't really know, but I wouldn't be buying him anytime soon until or after Origin. So
yeah, yeah. But for mine, I think it just is entirely dependent on your plan for the season. You either want to hold Nico Hines for the rest of the season, so you're holding him and you're not selling him, or you're trading after this Origin period and buying back after. That plan is highly dependent on the number of trades you have. So if you're someone that's sort of max trading, I'm not really interested in. If you're someone that's already max traded, I would probably be looking to save trades and not trade out Nico Hines, especially with the like the options in the halfback position are not amazing. So I'd probably be looking to hold if I did have him, but I don't have him at the moment. So yeah, can't really speak too much to that one.
yeah, strong agree. So is there anyone else in that Sharks team who interests you at all, or do you
Yeah,
think it's
like
kind of
no one else is a massive slam dunk trading. I think their highest trade in is Britain Nicker, and I have him already. But yeah, no one else really interests me a lot in this Sharks team or the Eels team massively as trade-ins. I think let's just jump into our bets in this one.
Yep. So for myself, I think the Sharks finally bounce back. So I am going Katoa, Ramian, and that is on the basis that they will be running against Pasivo and I believe Sean Russell on the left edge. Would that be or Penasini on the left edge?
I can't remember.
Either way, they'll be running against Sivo, so I'm keen to. I think they'll both score. And then Ronaldo is ultimately due as well, so him included to try score a try is 15.75. How about yourself?
Yeah, for myself, I jumped on the Eels early when I saw the team, like basically right at 4 o'clock. Obviously saw Moses and Gutherson both named. Uh, Jumped on at $2.21. What I might actually do is is cash out that bet. Can make like 30-40 bucks just in cashing that one out. So
It's
I
free money.
may do that just because I don't like how much the line has shifted. I think this Sharks team is still pretty strong with the outs they have. I think Trindle and Atkinson can still do a job. I do think probably the Eels still win. So I wouldn't I think they'll be desperate enough to get over the line. So I wouldn't be keen on playing them at their current. Oh, sorry, I wouldn't be keen on playing the Sharks at their current line. But I think where the market is at now is pretty close to where it should be. So I'm probably keen to just cash out in this one. But I'll see
Understandable.
closer to game day whether I let that one ride.
Yeah, no, you got lucky as well. I saw the exact same thing and thought, hey, maybe I should put money on this just to cash out. I think it was 250 when I saw it this morning. And the
Yeah,
Eels, I thought, if there's any chance at all that Moses' name, this will drop right in. So you got
yeah,
super
yeah.
lucky there.
Yeah, no, I was definitely I switched. I sort of thought about the fact that they're both Gutson and Moses were due back this round. I just wanted to wait to team list to get confirmation, and then as soon as I saw that confirmation, jumped on straight away, and then yeah, it sort of dropped in shortly after that.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the next game: the Knights versus the Bulldogs. Game of
Game
the
of the
round.
round.
Uh, the Knights win well in this one, correct?
Oh, surely at this point, we've got to bounce back from that absolute thrashing the Bulldogs gave us early in the year.
Yeah.
They're missing Matty Burton, Critter, and Viliami Kikau. We're missing Bradman Best. It is at Hunter Stadium. To be honest, I don't see any way we don't lose this. Sorry, I don't see any way we don't win this. There we go. Don't mean to jinx this, but yeah, I think Newcastle win comfortably.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely am hopeful. Haven't bet on the Knights, but I'm definitely hopeful in this game. Obviously, the number one traded in player from this game is David Armstrong. We don't really need to talk about why he is a good traded in option.
Oh no,
Let's talk.
definitely not. If you don't have him right now, then what are you doing in Supercoach?
Yeah,
He's an absolute gun.
yeah, yeah. What I'd much rather talk about is whether you think he's a vice captain or a captain option in this game. Good. Keeping in mind your vice captain and captain are both free choices at captain. So you could have someone like a David Armstrong who might have a high upside and score like 100 plus, and then you could just loop him in for free.
Well,
Would you consider David Armstrong as a
I
vice
genuinely would,
captain?
to be honest. Like the way I see it, I don't think it's a genuine captain option in the first game. Outside of this game, I don't really see a captain option either, except David Armstrong, like you said. I definitely VC him. And then if you have a Roosters player that you really want to back, say, I think Dom Young is probably due for a try. I probably captain Dom Young and VC David Armstrong for this game. If you have Teddy as well, same kind of thing. I'd probably captain Teddy this round. VC David Armstrong if you have him, like you said.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Probably favorite captain choice would be Tedesco, but yeah, definitely could get around an Armstrong VC as well. Something that I've already thought about. Uh, I've got someone like a Scotty Drink in there, but I'm sort of scared in terms of how well the Cowboys will perform without some of their guns in there. So yeah, whether I go Armstrong VC and then like a Walker or a Young C, uh, could be the move. But it's yeah, it's a scary prospect knowing that yeah, like a Walker and both Walker and Young can score really low at times. So yeah, it'll be a lot of toing and froing to decide where we end up on that one.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there.
Um, my Papalangi is a little bit traded in. Would he be someone that you trade in just for the period that Bradman Best is out?
Well, the thing is, apparently he was out for 4 weeks, as of after that game. So Knights obviously had the bye after that. That means we'd likely have Mapalangi at centre for 3 weeks. I believe he's 200k, so if you do want to pick him, I don't see why not. The only issue is that Bradman Best may come back a week early, and then you're screwed. So I would again wait 2 weeks. There's no need to buy him right now. I would wait until the moment he's named for that third game and then pick him.
For mine, I kind of have the opposite thinking. If you want to buy him right now, and then play him for these few games, and then you're basically buying someone to nuff, right? So just to explain the principle of nothing is you're just buying someone that you know isn't going to play, and then that you're guaranteeing that they're not going to be an AE. So you're buying someone to make that cash generation, and then you're guaranteeing that they won't be an AE, which like he's not going to, even if he comes back, he'll be playing center for the Knights, and he'll go okay. He's going to be better than your AEs, better than your AEs have been or will be. Sorry. So I don't mind buying him right now as a pure cash generation, and then obviously you have the upside that he's actually going to play this round. But that's the only way I think you can buy him. Shouldn't be looking at him in a couple of weeks because he's not going to get any cash rises really. So
Yeah, understandable. I
Just
get where
because
you're coming from, but look, I just don't see the point in buying him if he's not going to raise cash. So I
look,
get where you're coming
you
from.
should at some point in the season start buying knocks, right? Like you should start like at the end of the year, you want to make like so let's say two trades. You go one player to a gun and then another player down to someone's going to cost zero, and then you like going to cost sorry 200K and is never ever going to have a chance of playing. That way you make extra money to go further up.
Okay, yeah, I see where you come from.
But yeah, like that might not necessarily suit each person's team, but it can be an option if you want to generate a little bit more cash to get up to a better player there.
Understandable.
Um, but yeah, so just in terms of both of these teams here, just looking at the rest of the Knights team, Piper's Paul named in the back row is good for Supercoach. Frizzell off the bench. Do you see Kai Pierce? What sort of minutes do you see Kai Pierce Paul getting in this one?
Well, it really depends what they're doing. If they're going to play, again, I don't know what Adam O'Brien's thinking, but if Frizzell's off the bench, you'd assume he's playing through the middle. So it would not surprise me if Pierce Paul plays probably 65 to 80 minutes. But again, it's one of those things that you just have to watch and see.
Yeah, I could definitely see it being anything. So as an owner of this round, it's you're just keeping him playing because he does play obviously during this major buy round. So he's a good number to have, but then definitely someone we have to reevaluate for next week, depending on how he goes this week. In terms of like players that have been traded in this round, Jacob Carraz is one of the higher traded in players at 800K. Would he be someone that you'd be targeting?
I just don't think he's worth it at 800K, to be honest. Like, I know he is doing well, but I don't see the value in buying him at 800,000. Like, unless you're willing to keep him till the end of the season, I would not pick him.
Yeah, I mean, so scores in the last few of 134, 92, and 100 in his last three. And then a 48 just before that, and then 101 before that as well. So he's had some really, really big scores recently. So I can understand the appeal. But for mine, yeah, probably just a little bit
Yeah, I think it's a bit too much.
out of the price range there. I would love to pick him up, but like this week, anything under 750, I definitely would have considered, but 799 is a lot of money to be playing for Jacob Carraz. And then yeah, in terms of other players trading, Reed Marnie, Jacob Preston, like neither of them intrigue me particularly much. Jacob Preston is starting back row now, but yeah, just no guarantee on his minutes. He got a try last week, so that would have inflated his score. So you have to take that into account.
You also do not even consider trading in Jam and Salmon. I know he scored a double. Don't even consider it.
Or what will you do?
I will do a silly salmon if you do.
Nice. Yeah, so that's probably pretty much it in terms of Supercoach players. Let's jump into bets in this game. As I've already mentioned, I'm not going to take a bet in this game. It's a Knights game, but do probably prefer the Knights in this one. So that would be my lean in this one. Yeah, just trying to be unbiased. Obviously, Burton's been a big piece of the Bulldogs' success, and then you've got big attacking weapons in Kickout and Crichton out in this one as well. So would have to play the Knights if I was going to play it. But what about yourself?
Yeah, look, so my bet of the round was Knights, Armstrong, Mapalangi. The way I see it, our halves are bad, but I do not see any way that halves consisting of Toby Sexton and Drew Hutchinson can basically have any sort of decent attack. I don't see any attack coming out of them. I think the Bulldogs will be pretty stunted this game.
The next game of the round, which is the Panthers versus the Dargans. Obviously, this Panthers team has been absolutely gutted, super coach wise, and obviously that affects betting a lot. They're still the reasonably short favourites in this one. I'll run through the list of players out in this one. So
It's
Dylan
such
Edwards,
an insane list both ways.
yeah, Dylan Edwards, Brian Toto, Isaiah Yeo, Jerome Luai, Liam Martin, and obviously Nathan Cleary still missing. You got someone like a Taylor May, but Alan Watty's been good.
Taylor
There
May's
again,
out for the season. Matt Eisenhuth is out. Is there a reason for that? Was he injured?
don't know. I mean, mate, it's hard to think about Matt Eisenhuth when all the other players for Penrith are out there.
He's the heart and soul of the team.
terms of the Dargans team, obviously the biggest loss, Benny Hunt, the downgrade to Marshall. They don't have much depth in the halves there. And then you've got players like Jaden Sewer and Zach Lomax also picked for Origin, and then Jack Bird out injured as well. So some big outs for both teams, and some intriguing possibilities in Supercoach. I've already spoken to the halves for Penrith. I definitely prefer Schneider if you're bringing one in, and you said you probably prefer Cole. Dane Laurie's got that fullback slot. Is he someone that you might pick up, knowing that he probably plays a couple of rounds over Origin while Edwards plays Origin?
To me, I think he's just too expensive for an Origin filler. I know he's probably around 500k. Is that right?
I think he's less. I think.
Less.
Yeah, I mean, you just speak to why you don't necessarily like him, but I can. I'm just pulling up his price now.
How much do you know?
He's 307k.
Okay, he's way cheaper than I thought he was. Look, I just don't rate Dane Laurie that much. Like, I mean, he's probably going to get, the way I said, he's probably going to get points just for playing for Penrith, but I just don't think he's a good player when there's genuinely better options out there, like a trade Fuller. I would much rather trade Fuller than a Dane Laurie.
Yeah, no. So for mine, I think like if he's locked into the fullback spot for a long time at 300k, it'd be a slam dunk buy. The problem is the Panthers have the round 16 and 19 buy. So yeah, realistically, you're only buying him for this round. So yeah, like not really a trade-in option. I guess some people might have had him already, and you'll get the benefit of like getting a good round out of him. But yeah, definitely don't need to look at trading in Dane Laurie. For the rest of the Panthers team, Tungo there, would he be someone that you'd be interested in trading in?
I'm considering him, but again, he seems to have kind of lost the attacking form he had earlier this season. I want him to play well. I want him to do well, but we're going to see that consistently for the rest of the year. I don't know with Cleary out. So,
Yeah. Break even of 45, so 507k price point. It's definitely intriguing. Someone that I may look at throughout the week, make a decision on. Yeah, later on in the week whether I still am keen on him, but yeah, it's definitely not at the top of my trade plans with some of the scores he's been putting out recently, but could be an option. And then yeah, when Cleary comes back, obviously he'll be a good option in the late part of the year as well. So could be an option, but doesn't play 16, 19 as well. So yeah, tough choice in that one. In terms of the rest of the Panthers team, is there anyone else that maybe stands out for you?
to be honest, not really. No, it seems like the Panthers will probably. I just don't see them relying on any of their resis too much. Like they've got these resi players, right? But I just don't see the point of getting them when they know that they're players who come back from Origin. They're so fit; they're going to be playing 45 minutes minimum. So I just don't really see why you'd be getting any Panthers players at this point.
Yeah, I mean Liam Henry named in the back row. Would you be interested at all at 323k?
I guess that actually probably is a decent shout there. Like I wouldn't mind him. He's going to obviously move back to the bench once the good players come back. But if you're looking for a short-term cheapie, I'd definitely go for him.
Yeah, I mean, still for me, it's not a trade in. If you hold him, that's nice, but not a trade in. Yeah, like he's he's not gonna he's gonna have one good week realistically. He's not gonna play 16 and 19, so he's not gonna get a back row spot again anytime soon. So yeah, not nice if you hold him, but otherwise not an option. Yeah, aside from that, like I did say, I don't mind Brad Schneider in the halfback position, but aside from that, in terms of Penrith players, no one else particularly standing out to me. In this Dragons team, I know you traded in Lomax last week, which would be frustrating.
I traded both Lomax and Burton thinking neither of them would start, and they're both going to be playing Origin.
Yeah.
That is so frustrating. And like, it's really weird. Lomax played himself out of that jersey in that second half and still got the job anyway.
I think, yeah, they probably just already had an idea of Madge had already an idea of where he wanted to go before the game. So that would have been why. Obviously DeBellin, we both traded in. Do you have anything to add on why you like DeBellin to trade in?
To me, he's very, very consistent. He's scoring an average of 60 points in base and something ridiculous like that. And he's also got the attacking upside of occasionally scoring tries. So I think he's a win-win, especially for Origin rounds like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just a pretty safe option through the Origin rounds. Like he's not particularly exciting, so don't be trading him expecting big scores. I don't really be trading him expecting attacking upside, but he's going to be a solid player through the Origin rounds.
Definitely,
and there'll be a number for next week as well, so which is helpful. So, yeah, like him in that respect. For mine, aside from that, still no one else that really excites me in this team. There's that Sione Finau, which would be a very similar sort of thing as Mapalangi, but yeah, still like
yeah. So I was just going to make an extra point on that. So the way I see it, I'm really looking at Finau, Fine, and Fine, the two Fines. So we know that Jack Bird's out for an indefinite time, and so is Hamlin Selle. So we could very well see one of these three guys lock down a spot for like indefinitely. So I'm really excited to see what they can bring to the team. I'm not going to bring in any this week, but if one of them kills it, you assume they've got a job in their team for the next, say, 4 or 5 weeks. So it's definitely one to keep a lookout on.
Yeah. I'm not sure on the extent of Bird's injury, but yeah, obviously Lomax will be back next week, so it's a risk if you were to jump on any of them for this week. So maybe something to look at in the future. Yeah, in terms of Dragons options, I don't really love much else. Do you want to just jump into betting in this one?
Yeah, definitely agree with you that one. Yeah, so for this game, I honestly, even though the Panthers have half their team out, I don't see a game in which they don't dominate this. I have Panthers, Taruva, and Tungo scoring at 877.
Yeah, for mine, I've got my best bet of the round, just Panthers set to head Dragons plus 24.5 and points bet at $1.86. So Panthers 1-24 in other words. As I've already mentioned, I don't think necessarily the attacking flow will be there for either team. With obviously, combinations won't quite be there, especially early on in the game. And yeah, so I see this like the Panthers are a good enough system that they continue to win throughout this Origin period. I remember that a few years ago they lost to the Tigers in the Origin period, and I think Ivan's wanted to make a point ever since then that they're still a good enough team to win. If they had a better half than Marshy in the Dragons team, I might be tempted to play the Dragons, but yeah, they just don't. So I can't see the Dragons getting the win in this one, but I can't see the Panthers putting a cricket score on them either. So
yeah,
I like the
strongly
1-24.
Strongly agree. I think it's a great bet, to be honest.
Thanks, mate. Let's jump into the next game, the Dolphins versus the Raiders. Not too many outs in either team in this one. It's a Dolphins Raiders game in Redcliffe, so KO Stadium rather than Suncorp. But the first talking point probably is Trey Fuller at the fullback spot. I presume
Love to see it. Absolutely love to see that, don't you?
Yeah. Do you expecting big things out of him in this game? Would he be one of those players that you think about like as a VCC option?
Again, I don't think so because I think the Raiders will win. So I'm not willing to VC him, to be honest. But saying that if you do have a Roosters player and you think the Dolphins are going to put up points, then definitely go for it. I would say the two VC options in this round are probably just based on when they're playing Armstrong and Fuller. Agree? Disagree?
Yeah. So for mine, I agree in that. I'd almost probably prefer Fuller. I mean, Fuller Armstrong's toss up, but I think Fuller gets through a lot of work. I really don't mind him as a VC option. You've got to be able to think like, what number does someone need to get to loop them as your VC, right? That number could be like 75. If Fuller gets a 75, you're probably thinking about looping him because like how often do you think the player that you're going to captain is scoring above 75, right? So yeah, I'm definitely can get around Fuller as your VC option. Don't know that I'd love him as your C, like locking him into your C, but if you've got a player in the next game, like a Dom Young or a Sam Walker or someone like that, Tedesco, I don't mind a little Trey Fuller as your VC. Although, yeah, you obviously wouldn't be able to do Tedesco and Fuller as your VC and C, but yeah. In terms of other options in this game, well, let's try and talk through some of maybe the trade-ins in this game. I'm just going to pull up the highest traded-in players from both teams. One that's highly traded in is Jeremy Marshall-King. Would he be someone that you'd be looking at for this round?
I think so. Is he a Kiwi? Is that true?
Yeah.
Just like his brother. Yeah, I think it'd be a great option just over Origin, especially if you do have Grant and say whoever Reece, just whoever you've got there. So Reece Robson, whatever. Yeah, I think it'd be a great pick just over Origin, but he's also a great player to have for the end of the year as well. So if you do have the money to upgrade, I'd go upgrade now. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. You can probably just upgrade him later anyway.
Yeah. He's at a pretty reasonable price, Marshall-King, so definitely can get around people trading him in. Yeah, it just depends who you're trading him in for. For mine, already mentioned, like I don't really love making trades in the hooker position, so yeah, probably not going to get him in myself, but yeah, don't mind it as trading depending on what you've got in the hooker position. The second most traded in is Ewan Aitken. I hate that. 657K. Like he's been scoring all right, but 657K for Ewan Aitken. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, where's that coming from?
Well, he's been scoring well, so he's got 74, a 63, an 83, a 60, and an 84 in his last 5. So he's had good, sort of solid, consistent scores. He's been starting back
like maybe
row.
3 games ago as well.
Sorry?
Did he score a try like 3 or 4 games ago as well?
Yeah, I believe so. Like, yes. But yeah, no, for mine, like, he just can't be a trade-in. He's 657K.
Yeah,
Like,
no, definitely not. Why is anyone getting him for that price?
yeah, no, I mean, I can understand it in his point scoring, but
You're buying a player who's just going to eventually lose money.
well, yeah, like the 74 last week was very, very solid. 50 tackles, none missed. Yeah, 4 points in tackle breaks, 4 points in it. Like, not many points outside of, so 18 points in hit ups and 50 points in tackles. So that's 60 points, just 68 points just there, which is very, very impressive. But yeah, just still not an option for mine at that price point.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. It's a lot of money for you and Aiken.
Yeah. But he does at least have the dual second row forward center wing. So, but yeah, I would have loved to pick him up a little bit at a little bit better price than that. But yeah, still not an option. Although, yeah, I keep looking at these scores and they're pretty good throughout the season.
True. It's like all the base stats as well, isn't it?
Lowest score of 50. Like,
Bloke loves to get through his effort.
Yeah.
So in regards to the Raiders, is there anyone at all who's kind of interesting you at all? Or
I mean, Tarpany's highly traded in, but Tarpany this year is just not the same Tarpany of previous years, unfortunately.
he's still scoring decent points. He's just not scoring tries anymore. So he's lost the attacking upside, but I was considering trading him in, but his base is pretty good still.
Yeah. I mean, he did have a 75 last week, but before that, he had 52, 49, 51, 59. So like he hasn't been that bad, to be honest. Like he's been okay, but like
he's been
averaging
good enough where you'd just be keeping in the team. Like you'd be struggling to upgrade him at that point. But like you said, is that last score a fluke? Probably. But the thing is, he's going to play every single game of Origin, I believe. So
yeah, well, so he had he's averaging 58.6, but he had a try assist last week to get him to 75. So yeah, you got to take that into account. He's not going to get very many tries or try assists throughout the season. think you're buying him at pretty much bang on value. I don't see too much value around him. So fine trading, like similar to DeBellin, honestly. Like I don't love trading into trading in DeBellin, but like he'll do a job. Similar sort of thing with Tarpany, but
Yeah, keep
Tarpany
in
obviously
mind he's playing both 13 and 16, so he's one of the better coverage players for Origin period.
who's is this Tarpany or
Tarpany here, just the
well,
Raiders in general.
Tarpany misses next week, so that's why I'm not keen on Tarpany because I have so many Roosters players.
Tarpany misses next week.
Yep.
He plays the
Raiders, Dolphins, Roosters next week.
Is it? Never
Yep.
mind.
It's a three.
Oh, yeah, I don't know how I missed that. Yeah, never mind.
Round 14, 17, and 20 is a 3-team buy round.
Okay,
So
that is
it wouldn't
right.
be-
Yeah, probably
it
don't
wouldn't
bring
be
any
worse.
Raiders players in there.
That's why I wouldn't go like a Tarpany instead of a DeBellin because I'm short for next round, so I can't be looking at a Tarpany. But like a Tarpany is the same trade as DeBellin for mine basically.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean now. Yeah.
And then KO Weeks is still got a few trade-ins. Like it's fine. It doesn't excite me at all. Yeah, there's way more interesting things you can do, but it's completely fine. You got a 60
Simi
trade.
Sasangi is playing 15 again.
Simi Sasangi, he's irrelevant. Like I would not even think about Simi Sasangi. Herbie Farnworth.
Wasn't he one of the most traded players in at one point, only for him to play 2 games?
Yeah. Herbie Farnworth. Would he be something you're interested in after 121 on the weekend?
Again, I don't know if that's great. I'd rather not trade
121.
No, so like I don't mean it's a great idea to trade him in, but again, Herbie Farnworth's a fine play if you want to have him at the end game. But at this point, is it worth trading him in after scoring such a massive score?
That's when you want to trade him in because he will have that score on his rolling average for a few weeks. So you don't want to give him another week and then he'll stay in, like he'll go up even more because he's got that score on his rolling average.
Didn't he score relatively decently prior to getting injured though, which is what I'm kind of thinking about?
No, he scored a 49, a 121. He scored a 49 the game like game before this.
Okay.
So
that's not too bad.
Yeah,
no, definitely. If you want him, I definitely trade him in. But I'm unsold on Herbie Farnworth, to be honest.
Yeah, it's tough with centers that don't have goal kicking. So there's obviously that with Herbie Farnworth, but he did look really good on the weekend. Had a lot of tackle breaking. So not a bad option as a little pod. 3.2% ownership right now. So I don't actually hate it as a little pod option, but it's really tough in the center wing and with a lot of other positions. There's no real clear standout sort of moves. So some of these moves, like a Herbie Farnworth or a Tungo or someone like that are all around this same sort of price point. Whoever you end up going, it could actually have a massive impact on the rest of your season. But Herbie Farnworth does have the benefit of 13, 16, and 19. He does play.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, look, outside of that, no one else like super interesting outside of fairly obvious players like Jermaine Asako is always going to be a decent trade in with the goal kicking. Who do you prefer out of Asako or Farnworth?
I think Asako is solely because he's kicking, right?
But
you'd have to.
With the price difference, obviously you're paying an extra 140K.
I would rather pay the premium, to be honest. I would rather the guy I know is going to score points solely because he's in a team that scores a lot of points and he kicks goals. So I'd have to go with Asako.
Yeah, and the benefit of Asako as well is that he's gonna he's a definite sort of player that you want to have at the end of the season because he has that goal kicking. So there's not like Herbie Farnworth might be a maybe player that you have at the end of the season, whereas Asako is going to have that goal kicking base which will be good for the end of the season.
Total side note that just came to my head, right? How good would have Corey Parker been at Supercoach?
Yeah, I had him back in the day. I used to have him in Supercoach. He was so sick.
Like Prime Parker would have been the best second rower in the game. He plays 80 minutes, kicks goals. Like surely he'd be scoring like 80, 90 every game minimum.
Yes, he was sick. He was so good for Supercoach.
I just want a second rower that kicks goals. Like what's Barnett doing now?
Yeah. Let's talk betting in this game. For myself, I already sort of mentioned in the head and heart bet, but I like the Dolphins. The Dolphins minus 3.5 you can get on sports bet currently at $1.83. I like the Dolphins because their team is pretty much full strength. Trade Fuller for Hammer, I don't see as a massive downgrade with how well Trade Fuller's been playing. They're off a loss and they're back home. So really like the Dolphins in this one. The Raiders are generally pretty strong at home, and when they travel, they're generally worse. So there's that factor as well. What about yourself?
Okay, are you willing to take a side bet on this one? Because I think the Raiders get it.
Sure, let's take the Dolphins Raiders line, so 3.5.
I'm happy to just take this head to head, to be honest. Like, there's no point in winning by like a line. I hate that. So I want to do head to head.
Fine. I don't know why you're handicapping yourself, but sure.
But you're already handicapping yourself by getting on the team that has Anthony Milford as the on the bench. That's ridiculous. Why are they naming him? Like, why would you name Anthony Milford as your utility?
He's a lead,
Like,
mate.
tell me,
He's
so
still
I'm
got
done.
it, in my opinion.
No, he does not. He looks like he's got just a Big Mac in his hands.
Yeah, right.
So,
Okay, so we got that side bet, but I guess that sort of starts to speak to your bet. What do you have in this game?
so I've got the Raiders head to head, but there's going to be a lot of points in this. There's no doubt about it. So I'm going Raiders, Bostock, and Savage to score at $7.
Yeah, nice. Let's jump into the last game of the round, which is the Roosters versus the Cowboys. Obviously, short around this one. Roosters Cowboys, pretty crazy line, something like 18.5 in this one. Two teams that have been scoring a lot of points recently. Two teams that scored a lot of points on the weekend. Do you see some of their Supercoach options as being trade-ins? And which team would you be looking to trade in more so?
Fuck Divino, to be honest, other than James Tedesco, which I think if you have the fullback spot for him, I'd probably be searching for him immediately.
Yeah.
Even Dom Young, if you really want him, I'd say jump on him now after scoring horrifically last week. Other than that, I'm actually surprised that the Roosters have named Luke Keary to play, given that he was named in the extended squad.
He was named in the 19 or 20, so I think
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah, no, it's just really strange they did that, given that, there's no guarantee that Nico Hines plays.
Yeah, but I guess they just named him so that, yeah, like presuming that because he's named in the 19 or 20 that he'll play.
Yeah, look, I like this team the Roosters have put out, but I don't think there's any must buys. Maybe Terrell May, to be honest, given he's now starting, so I assume he's going to get way more minutes than he has previously. Victor Radley as well may play 80. I like him, but again, I don't know if it's sustainable long term. Even over the Origin period, I don't know how sustainable these players and minutes are. Same with Nafatu White.
Mhm.
To be honest, I think any of the Roosters forwards are a decent pick, especially now that Egan Butcher's out with an ACL injury, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd definitely be picking any of the starting players for this game if you can. But again, if you have a lot of Roosters players already, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty much you spoke to what sort of turned me off. A lot of these Roosters players I already have a fair few of them, so it doesn't interest me as much to bring in these Roosters players. But yeah, James Tedesco, pretty slam dunk pick. I thought very long and hard about whether I still bring him in, and I may still honestly bring him in, just because yeah, like he's been looking really really good this season. Obviously missed out on the Origin team. I think he'll be fired up after missing out on selection. He can put all of his sort of energy just on focusing in the Roosters, which could be a very scary prospect for opposition teams. So yeah, definitely love Tedesco as a trade in for this round, probably trade in of the round. But yeah, like I've already said, you've got to be very, very careful in how your team is built because yeah, the Roosters have the bye next week.
Yeah.
That White I don't love because I presume most people have a lot of Roosters players, so like he could be okay. Especially with someone like an Egan Butcher out of the team, he could continue to get that 13 spot, and same like Radley could continue to get the back row spot, but I don't love trading to either of them. Just with
The most annoying thing about this is if they played for any other team other than the Roosters, they'd be slammed on buys. But no, they all have to play with the Roosters.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. A lot of these players could be more of an option if they wanted the Roosters. But yeah, it's tough. You've got to be very careful in managing your roster. In
So
terms of,
why has Michael Jennings been named as a utility?
I don't know. I think they're just short on numbers, so they're just chucking him over. But I mean, someone like it really helps someone like a Terrell May. I mean, someone like a White will score really well this round, and
Yeah,
Terrell May will score really well this
yeah.
round because they're going to get minutes with that bench makeup. But yes, I don't know why he's put that bench together. In terms of Cowboys players, Scotty Drink is the highest Cowboys player traded in. Would he be someone that you look at all in this game?
Definitely, I would be looking at him, especially if you want him for the rest of the season. To be honest, I probably would wait until after this game because I don't think the Cowboys' attack is going to be very good. Keep in mind, Jake Clifford's playing is it the first game of first grade he's played since playing for Newcastle like 3 years
He's
ago?
played this season.
Okay, well, second or third game, but Jake Clifford could go either way. He's one of those players who's very good when he's on, very bad when he's off. I don't know what Jake Clifford we're going to get, and Chad Townsend is not the best performing half so far this season. Again, I don't know how the Cowboys could go. They could score 40 points or 0 points, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I can kind of get behind you a little bit in that respect, but I do think Chad Townsend's all right, and I think their halves will go completely fine. They've got a lot better than halves than you look at some of the other teams in this round.
So,
Their halves are not that bad compared to
so what you're saying is you're a big Chad Townsend guy.
big Chad Townsend guy. Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't think the Cowboys team is as bad as that negative 18.5 line suggests. I don't know if I'm confident enough to play them at a plus 18.5, but yeah, it'll be an interesting game with all the players out. Scotty Drink, I think, like I'm happy that I have him as a number for this round. If you're going to trade him in, you have to trade him in this round, in my opinion, because there's not much utility in trading him in after he's already played in a buy round. You should target teams that are gonna, like, I'm not exactly sure on their buy fixture, but it's not gonna. I know they're not one of the better, like they're not the Tigers or the Knights that only have like two or one round missing. So it's not going to be amazing after this. So yeah, if you want Cowboys players, this is the round to get them. And Scotty Drink's probably the only real one that I'd be interested in.
Yep, fair enough.
Let's talk betting in this game. What do you have in this game here?
I think the Roosters run away with it here, so I'm willing to take them at the line of 17.5. I also have Young and Manu to combine for 3+ tries. Keep in mind they are running at, I believe they're running at a wing of Billy. I think it's Tom Chester and Braden Burns on the left wing, because Felt's the right winger, isn't he?
Not sure how exactly they'll make up with some of the outs in the.
Yeah, look, you're probably right there, but I think that I don't see how they don't put an absolute clinic on who they're playing. These guys, apart from Kyle Felt, these guys, not to be too offensive, but I wouldn't put them as first-grade starters. So I think the likes of Dom Young and Joey Manu are going to put an absolute clinic.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I can kind of understand where you're coming from. My initial thoughts in this one was to take the Roosters line with the outs in the Cowboys, and sort of not too many key outs in the Roosters, and that they've still got their halves pairing together. They've got Tedesco still there, and they've still got Brandon Smith at 9, so their spine looks still pretty good. Whereas obviously Dearden out, and then some big forwards for them in like Cotter and Nanai out, and then you've got Val Holmes out as well. So yeah, like prefer the Roosters obviously to at least win, but don't really know exactly what to expect out of this game. At 17.5 line is pretty crazy. But yeah, like I also looked at overs points, but the overs line is 51.5, so I don't know if I'm super confident in that either. This might be one where I think on it more and see if I can find something later on in the week. But at this point, I don't really have too much clarity on exactly how I want to play this one.
Yeah, fair enough. Understand.
That's all the games for this round. That's the 5 games. Just before we sort of go, we should probably just touch on Origin. I'm just going to pull up the highest traded out players for this round. the number one traded out player is Nico Hines. Would he be like, I guess we can speak to a few options, but someone like a Nico Hines, a Reece Walsh, Gussie Crichton, are they players that you're trading out, or Zach Lomax as well, traded out? Which of those players would you
Every single one of them.
really? You got Hines, Walsh, Crichton, Lomax?
Oh, sorry, I don't have Walsh. I have, yeah, three of the four.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna have to hold them, to be honest. I don't
yeah,
know. I think Gus. I think they're all going to play decent minutes after this round.
true.
Keep in mind that we've historically seen that backs are fine with backing up after Origin.
Yeah,
Second rowers tend to play still decent minutes.
yeah.
In the Roosters, it would not surprise me if Gussie still plays 60, which seems to be relatively on brand with what he's doing. Is that correct?
Plays
That's like
close to 80.
double check that, to be honest. But even then, like I'm happy with keeping Gus if he plays 60 minutes of the Origin period.
Yeah,
Yeah, Lomax will play 80 no matter what. He's their goal kicker. As long as he doesn't have like a 3 or 4 day turnaround, he'll be playing.
yeah.
But Nico's the one I'm worried about, to be honest. I don't know what's going to go on with him. I'm honestly amazed he was even picked for Origin, given it appears that he's got some serious injury.
Yeah,
Apparently,
no,
he's been playing through it for the past couple of weeks as well. So it would not surprise me if Nico does play. I don't think he'll play the following week.
yeah, for mine, honestly, pretty much all your big Origin guns are a hold. Depending on the setup of your team, if you've got a million Origin guns, then sure, you can think about trading them out. The first ones I'd be thinking about trading out are your middle forwards, because I think their minutes are going to possibly be reduced. Gussie Crichton's not an awful trade out, but yeah, he's the sort of player that I want to hold sort of for the season. So that's my plan. But yeah, you can trade him out depending on your numbers. A lot of these trade outs are dependent on your numbers. So you just got to weigh up how much depth you have in your team and whether you can afford to hold heaps of Origin players. But yeah, no, it's definitely some of these forwards could be trade outs because their minutes could be managed. You could just go look deeply into each team, into
Yeah.
which players you want to trade out there. We'll also just quickly talk what we like about what we like in bets in this game. What do you like in this game?
So New South Wales are the underdogs. Historically, we've seen that the underdog team past couple of years absolutely dominates the better team. It's in New South Wales. I don't see any other option than New South Wales winning 13 plus. Call me. You can screenshot this when it happens. Call me Nostradamus because it's gonna go.
Yeah,
Yes, that's paying I think $5. Yeah, $5.10 as well. So easy money. Put your house on it, or probably don't. It's $5.10, but put a considerable amount of money on it, and you will be a millionaire.
yeah. For mine, I'm probably not confident enough to go New South Wales 13 plus. Um,
Why not?
pretty safe bet each year is either team 1 to 12 though in that early game. It's hit in the last 3 years, even though Queensland have won that game one. But I think yeah, definitely New South Wales helps New South Wales a lot, and I really like some of the selections we've made, and not a fan of some of the selections they've made. Like I really like the Dylan Edwards at fullback, and I'm not a fan of them not picking David Fafita. So I like some of the choices we've made, and I think it sort of evens up the playing field a lot more. And I think it'll be a really tight one. So I'd be I'd be tipping a really close game in this one. I don't necessarily think we get up 13 plus, but I think it'll be a sick game. Do you have anything else to add? Obviously, we've got the two side bets for this week, the hire of Schneider and Cole in Supercoach, and then the Dolphins versus the Raiders head to head. Do you have anything else to add in terms of what the next week and a half is looking like in terms of NRL and Origin betting and
Not
Supercoach?
really, to be honest. Look, I'm just taking it 1 week at a time.
Yeah,
I'm struggling financially at this point because of my own betting, but I'll be fine. Don't bet too much that you can't afford it. You win some, you lose some, and I will continue going by that mantra.
yeah, nice. Yeah, like I think for mine, there's a lot of money to be made and a lot of Supercoach ranks to be gained throughout this period. you got to be really smart about your betting, really smart about your super coach. And if you do both of those things, you can expect to do well. So I expect to make good money and rise up those super coach ranks over the next couple of weeks, the next 5-6 week period. So keen for that. Anyway, so that's everything for us. We'll go fuck ourselves.
Yep. If you made it this far, comment Glock in the comments. Sorry, Gluck, not Glock. That'll probably get us banned, but Gluck, everyone. Let's go fuck ourselves.
You.